Hey, so this is my comparison of the LC2 to a number of other headphones I think are good comparison points, either in the price range or for their sound. Um, so let's just jump into it. So I love the LC2. So you can see I made a little stand for them. And when I was buying headphones, I did a bunch of research about what would be a good fit for me. Ended up settling on LC2s, which I'm very happy with. But if someone else is in the same situation as me, where they're wondering if they should get the LC2 or another pair of headphones, I'd like to give my input of the LC2s compared to a number of other headphones. So let's start with the HE400i. So these are the headphones I owned before I bought the LCD2s. And when I bought the LCD2s, I really thought they'd be like a direct upgrade from the HE400i's because they're both planar magnetic. And really that's all the logic I put into it when I bought the LCD2s. But they definitely, the LC2s are not a direct upgrade from the 400i's. The 400i's definitely have a wider soundstage. The LC2 is very intimate. It's a very, the soundstage is very close. Which, if you want a big soundstage, if you like the sound of the Sennheiser HE800, then maybe if you wanted to get a cheaper planar magnetic, you should go for the 400i's. I wish I could give you a comparison to the 560s from HiFiMAN, but I've never heard them. But anyways, from the 400i compared to the LC2. So these are like detailed for the price, but the LC2, they're 5 times the price, but they are much more detailed than the 400i's. 400i's have like a much bigger soundstage, so vocals and highs are like a little further away, but not like in a recessed fashion just because of the soundstage. The low end of the 400i really is what separates it from the LC2. The LC2 has fantastic bass. It fills in the sound. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe all the subtleties in the sound of headphones, but really the LC2s have like this warm, filling sound. And when you switch back to the 400i's, they seem a little thin, a little metallic. They seem to leave out like the fullness of the sound. The LC2 definitely have that, as they should, with the price point that they're at. Comfort wise, the 400i's absolutely blow the LC2s away. So if you need an absolutely the most comfortable headphone you can have, I 100% recommend the 400i's. These are by far the most comfortable pair of headphones I have ever worn. People were complaining about the build quality of HiFiMAN with like driver failures and the headband snapping. My friend and I have both owned the 400i for about a year, and we have not experienced any of these issues. But I do hear they're somewhat common. However, I think that the issues are a little bit overblown. I don't think they're as common as people would make them out to be. Although I have heard some like horror stories where like someone's been on like the third pair of Sundaras, and they've had 3 driver failures on 2 pairs of Sundaras, and like it's so. With HiFiMAN, you run a little bit of a risk with build quality, but you can always return it and just get another pair if the first one is defective in some way. That's really about all I have to say with comparison to the 400i's. If you are looking for an upgrade for the 400i's and you want the exact same sound, I'd say you probably should look somewhere else besides the LC2. The LC2 definitely have a much bigger emphasis on the low end of sound over the 400i's. So maybe you should go for the 560s, but again, I have not heard the 560s, so you'll have to look into that a little bit more. I guess I'll go for the other cheaper pair of headphones that are like not at all in the same price range as the LC2. So the reason I talk about the Sennheiser 6XX is because I feel it's a fantastic complementary headphone to the LCD2. So Well, the LC2 emphasizes the low end of music with really good detail. The 6XX emphasizes the mids and somewhat the highs. Definitely the mids, though. So, if I want to listen to a song where the vocals are supposed to be the emphasis of the music, then I would probably choose the 6XX over the LCD2s, which is really saying something because these are also like 1/5 of the price the LCD2s new. However, if I'm listening to a song where the vocals aren't necessarily emphasis, but the instruments are, then the LCD2s are much better. They have great separation. They can it's supposed to be emphasizing like the fullness of the sound and like all of the music coming together. The LCD2s do that amazingly. Meanwhile, the 6XXs really put an emphasis on the vocals. So if you have a song you want to listen to the vocals on, I think the 6XXs are perfect. And the reason I recommend these along with the LCD2s is just because if you're already spending like $800 for the LCD2s, you probably don't have the budget to go for another $1,000 really high-end headphone to fill in where the LC2 do not emphasize their sound, which is the mids and highs. I think these are a very good budgeted solution to that because they really, they fill in all of the points where the LC2 lack. So after the 6XXs, we have the Beyerdynamic DT1990 Pro. So I feel like people, I'm gonna talk about the HD800 here. I have never personally heard the HD800. However, it's such a popular headphone and there are so many opinions on it online. I feel like I have a pretty good sense of what it sounds like. And I think the LC2 and the HD800 are probably polar opposites. Take everything I say right now with just a grain of salt because I've never personally heard the HD800s. However, I don't think what I'm going to say is inaccurate. So the LCD2, their whole emphasis is on the low end, right? And the HD800s, their emphasis is all on the highs and the mids and the emphasis on the gigantic sound stage, which can be hit or miss for some people. And they're also known to be like somewhat sibilant, which is the exact opposite of the LCD2. The LCD2 really, I feel you'll have to really sorry about that. You have to really struggle for it to produce a sibilant sound. It kind of falls off in the highs. So if you're trying to make some piercing sound or sound is coming through is piercing and you can't stand it in like an HD800, then I feel like the LC2s are perfect because they will definitely eliminate the harshness of music. They're a gentle, warm pair of headphones. So if you want to just relax, the LC2s are great. And honestly, they just make you want to turn the music up. They just want you just want to turn the music up when you listen on the LCD2s because it just feels like you can keep going without the sound actually being harsh. And the reason I compare the 800 now is because I feel like the DT9090 are probably like mini HD800s. So these are crisp. They are I'm really sorry about the coughing. I'm not sure why I'm starting to suddenly cough. So these are like mini HD800s. They are really crisp. They're sharp. Man, I'm sorry. They're crisp. They're sharp. They do emphasize the mids a little bit more, they're definitely more than the LC2s. I'd say in general they're probably about average on the mids, and maybe a little bit above average on the highs if you don't mind the sharpness of them. So I personally don't own the DT1990 Pros, but my friend does, and he absolutely loves the sound signature of them. He likes the slightly abrasive sound, the crispness of it. I think I'm too used to LCD2s to really be able to fully appreciate the 1990s, because I just like the relaxed sound that I'm so used to now over the kind of harsher sound of the DT 1990s. So I feel like if like you are a little high sensitive, you should avoid the 1990s. And the LC2s fit like the perfect. They're perfect for people who are high sensitive, especially if you want a really powerful low end. So, finally, onto the Elears. So, the Elears and the LC2s are about in the same price range, and really it's going to be a tough choice, I think, for most people over which pair to get. The Elears are really just like, I feel, an improved version of the 1990s. So if you're looking for like an upgrade from the 1990s, then I'd say the Elears are perfect. The Elears have a I heard them described as like punching. I think that's very accurate. They have excellent. They're the clearest headphones I've ever heard. The highs and the mids come through fantastically. They're on par with the 6XX, which again speaks volumes about the quality of the 6XX. If something that's 5 times the price and doesn't emphasize what the 6XX lacks, which is low end, is really equivalent to it. Where these excel is the clarity of the music, and the sound stage is pretty big. Man, compare the LC2, it's going to be a tough choice. They're very different headphones. So if you want a more intimate emphasis on low end and bass and a really fast headphone, I would definitely go with the LC2. But the Elears, if you want something with more emphasis on vocals and highs, and to be able to pick out like piano notes, individual piano notes on the keyboards perfectly, I'd say the Elears are probably a little bit better for you. It's going to be a really tough choice if you're thinking about the LC2s and the Elears. It really depends. I think you have to try both and see which one your favorite is. I'm honestly torn. It does kind of sound like switching back and forth from the LC2 and the Elears, that the LC2s are like I really don't want to like say it because it makes them like sound bad, and they definitely aren't bad, but they're it makes the LC2s seem like a little bit more muffled in comparison to the Elears, but they aren't like a muffled pair of headphones. I guess people have described them as dark, and I guess that would be accurate. I don't really think about them that way, but I mean, really, if you compare them to the Elears, it seems that way. So really that's all I have to say with the headphones that I felt were good comparisons to the LCD2, or good talking points at least, like the 6XX and the 400i. So this is my second video ever on YouTube, and I really would love to find ways to improve these videos. So if you have any criticism for this video and you'd like to share it in a comment, I would love to read it, and I would try to adapt whatever you say into my reviews going forward. I would like to do individual reviews on the Elears and the rest of the headphones here, so I'll try to get those out in the coming weeks. Again, if you can think of things I can improve and would like to share it, I would love to hear it, and thank you for watching.